Hello, my name is Rabbi Rothwachs, and I thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to study Parsha Shoftim together, very briefly, with each and every one of you. So the first aliyah of Parsha Shoftim is one which is jam-packed, as is much of Parsha Shoftim, dealing with many aspects having to do with justice, namely the obligation from a Torah perspective to set up a system of justice, a court system, whereby individuals can come to have all disputes and matters adjudicated in front of a court. Now, obviously, there are different types of cases. You have what we would call civil cases involving monetary disputes, and then, of course, there are what we would call criminal cases, dina nefashos. And the Torah discusses many aspects of this. In this particular aliyah, the Torah talks about the fact that there are different areas, jurisdictions that have to be set up, districts, if you will, whereby there can be local courts, and there could be more, courts that encompass a larger area, and then, of course, essentially the equivalent of the Supreme Court, or what the Torah calls the Sanhedrin. The Torah discusses in this first aliyah the process by which witnesses come forth and are interrogated by the judges and have an opportunity to testify before the court, but at the same time, the judges follow a very, very systematic approach, which is described in much more detail in Torah Shabbat Peh, as to how we determine whether or not the particular stories that are being provided by the witnesses are in fact aligned, and whether their testimony is admissible. There's a very interesting pasuk in the very beginning of the aliyah, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. The Torah tells us that we have an obligation to pursue justice. What's really interesting about this particular phrase is the fact that tzedek, which is, for all intents and purposes, a noun, is being used repetitively. Tzedek, tzedek. Now, we are familiar, the Torah very often, for the purpose of emphasis, not merely emphasis, but we'll go ahead and take a word, typically a verb, and double the word, but it will be done by modifying the second one. So, for example, pasoach tiftach, havet tavitenu, azov tazov. But over here you have tzedek, tzedek, which is a little strange. So I once heard in the name of Rav Nissim Alpert, a very beautiful idea, and that is that there are many, many times in life where a person says, I see tzedek. What is right, what is proper, what is just in this particular situation, I see it right before me. And the Torah calls upon us to be rodev, to pursue an attitude and a way of life in which we recognize that there's my tzedek and there's your tzedek. And very often, the two are not necessarily aligned. And the Torah says that we have to be rodev, we have to pursue tzedek, tzedek. There's my tzedek and there's your tzedek, and ultimately, the true tzedek is one which recognizes the possibility of, as we say, multiple truths, reflecting the idea of Elu v'Elu divrei Elokim Chayim.